This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Welcome to the Stone Cold Truth. You're in the Stone Zone. Here at 970 AM, The Apple. We are delighted to now finally be in the communications capital of the world, the place former President Richard Nixon once called the fast track. We've got an incredible show for you today. I've got Ambassador James Woolsey, the former CIA director who's endorsed Donald Trump, a man of the political establishment, but a man who realizes how dangerous Hillary Clinton is, how dangerous the policies that we are pursuing today are for our country. This is a guy who has served both Republicans and Democrats with distinction. We have Professor Robert Fitrakis, who's going to address the media howls that were caused by Donald Trump saying that he wouldn't unilaterally concede the accuracy and the results of the next election automatically before the fact, which he has been torn apart over. We're going to talk about the fact that he simply should have added, as long as there is not evidence of mass fraud and voter machine manipulation. So we're going to get into that with Professor Fitrakis. We have John Tabacco, perhaps the savviest guy on Wall Street, to tell us what the movers and shakers on the street are thinking, why so many have backed Hillary, and his analysis of the race. It is an all-star lineup today, and I'm kind of shocked, when dog bites man in American politics. But to roll out Joe Biden, Mr. Touchy-Feely himself, a man who cannot keep his hands off of women in public, girls, children, the wives of colleagues. Even Hillary Clinton couldn't get away from him. This guy has a problem. Don't believe me? Look on YouTube. Look under Google photo search Joe Biden, touchy-feely, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And then in the very next breath, well, let's play these clips because they blow me away.
For what he said he did and does is a textbook definition of sexual assault.
Sexual assault? You mean the kind Bill Clinton specialized in? Because Bill Clinton is a sexual predator, and he is a serial rapist. At least 27 women have been identified as having been assaulted by him. 13 have spoken openly about it. These are Bill Cosby-like numbers. I mean, that Cosby is prosecuted and Bill Clinton is not, that's racist. I mean, in fact, if Jesse Jackson were here, he would say the white man campaigns, but the black man is arraigned. So what is Joe Biden talking about? And then he goes on to advocate violence.
What a disgusting assertion for anyone to make. The press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
First of all, let's be candid. Donald Trump probably got 70 pounds on Joe Biden. He'd kick his ass. But putting that aside, this is part and parcel what so many of the most important WikiLeaks have told us, that the Clinton people, particularly at the lower levels, were actively inciting violence at Trump's rallies that they could turn around and blame on Trump. I wrote this at the time. I tied it through compelling circumstantial evidence to George Soros, to the criminal David Brock, and the various Clinton front groups that are mostly operating illegally by money laundering. But I had a compelling circumstantial case. Today you have in WikiLeaks the proof. The violence is being fomented by Hillary. Just like these women who've come forward to say that Donald Trump has groped them. Now, this has been in the planning since May. The Clintonistas knew that at some point Trump was going to bring out Juanita Broaddrick and Kathleen Willey and Paula Jones and even Kathy Shelton, who was victimized by Hillary herself, and therefore we had to hook up these uncorroborated attacks that nobody reported at the time, but the New York Times, owned by the Mexican billionaire Clinton contributor Carlos Slim, chose to put on page one. That creates a new journalistic standard. Normally speaking, most mainstream media publications require at least a second-party corroboration before they will print an outrageous charge like this. Again, the WikiLeaks show us that this is a fabrication, that this was put together in a way to try to blunt the focus on Bill Clinton's sexual exploits, but more precisely on Hillary's role in bullying and intimidating and threatening these women. AP reported, for example, Roger Stone paid off Kathleen Willey's mortgage. No, I didn't. I like Kathleen Willey. I helped set up a GoFundMe to try to work with many small donors to save her home from foreclosure. Roger Stone paid Kathy Shelton, who was the 12-year-old girl raped by a 41-year-old man. Hillary brutalizes her on the stand, accuses her of fantasizing about sex with older men, accuses her of having made false accusations of older men previous to being raped, and tells her that she wanted to be with an older man, meaning you wanted to be raped. Then Hillary suppresses evidence in the case, and the rapist, who raped this girl, Kathy Shelton, so badly that she was in a coma for 5 days, who raped her so viciously she cannot have children today, Hillary then laughed on tape about her client's guilt and the fact that she had gotten him off light. Yes, everybody's entitled in this country to legal representation, but their lawyers are not allowed to lie on the stand and bully witnesses. By the way, all of the evidence from the police department, police report, hospital report, completely disappeared for the trial. So when these women came forward, it was obvious that the Clintonistas were going to hook up this faux counterattack. Then you have the entire nonsense regarding, our connections to the Russians, ours being anybody who supports Donald Trump. First, Congressman Jerry Nadler, in an act that Roy Cohn and Joe McCarthy would be proud of, calls on the FBI director to investigate my ties to Russia. Hey, Jerry, I have no ties to Russia. I don't have any Russian clients. I take in no income from Russian interests. I represent no one in Russians, and I certainly have never taken a penny from Russian intelligence. This is a witch hunt without foundation. Then John Podesta says that because I predicted on Twitter that his illicit business dealings would be exposed, and because I've been totally candid about the fact that I do have what I consider to be a back-channel communications in which I have a broad view of what Julian Assange is all about and what he may have, it doesn't clear his releases with me. He doesn't tell me what he's doing in advance, but I have learned that he's serious, that he has serious information that could roil this election, and that they have made a major effort through the U.S. State Department here to silence him because he's the keeper of all the secrets. But the Clinton camp says those two facts mean that Stone knew about the hacking of Podesta in advance and that he works for the Russians. Now to roll out the deputy CIA director, Mike Morell, the very guy who hooked up and edited the CIA talking points in the Benghazi investigation, or I should say the Benghazi situation, in order to accommodate the false narrative that the video, that an Islamic video shown in Turkey was the purpose for the generator of the mob that assaulted our mission. Well, first of all, it wasn't a mob. It was a precision military operation. And in this case, Mike is in on the fix. This is the guy, Morell, that they roll out to call for an investigation of Roger Stone, the same FBI that can't find any crimes in Hillary Clinton's email scandal. Please, give me a break. You're here on the Stone Cold Truth.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold, cold as ice." Find out more at stonecoldtruth.com. In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how and much more in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks? All on America's largest 4G LTE, GSM, and Sprint networks. Introducing Pix Wireless. Activate your Sprint, AT&T, or unlock GSM phones with Pix, and choose from an arsenal of monthly plans or build your own. Starting at only $2.99 per month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-205-9513 or PixWireless.com, spelled PIXWireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
There is an affordable alternative to the high cost of healthcare that offers freedom from insurance while providing compliance with the Obamacare individual mandate. Imagine having access to quality, affordable healthcare that allows you the freedom to choose your doctor and hospital. Members can share up to 100% of necessary medical expenses, including some alternative treatments. Find out how you and your family can contain healthcare costs without giving up your freedom. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you, too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth. We're in the Stone Zone, and today I am really delighted to be in touch with Dr. Laura Presley, who has been fighting election fraud in Travis County for a long time now. Actually has a lawsuit stuck in the Third Court of Appeals regarding her fight against voter fraud in her city. She is on top of a rapidly developing story in Texas and we saw this in the primaries. We saw these computerized voter machines taking a vote for Donald Trump and changing it into a vote for Ted Cruz. I did some work with Stop the Steal originally to compile the sworn affidavits from individual voters to whom this happened, and many other irregularities for that matter. I'm really pleased to have Laura with us now. Dr. Presley, tell us what's going on, because Texas is becoming ground zero in the big vote theft here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Roger, for everything you do, and thanks for having me on. Yes, in Texas, we have reported now about, and I've been tracking it, about 18 counties in the state that report the exact same fingerprint, and I use that word very specifically because if a computer basically only does what it's programmed to do, and it will do it over and over and over again. And the fingerprint that we're seeing in Texas is that voters go in, vote straight party Republican, and then they go to the summary screen. That's on the ballot where you have the boxes and where the candidates are shown. And then when you are finished voting on that ballot that has the boxes on it, the computer goes to a summary screen, and that summary screen is where the issue is being detected. And voters are over and over again are reporting that Trump is not picked on that summary screen. And this is very interesting because this is a very, what I would call, risky hack that whoever has been propagating this and who's implemented this across the state of Texas is going on in right now 18 counties that we can count, and it's very similar fingerprint over and over again, and that is a signature of a computer program that's intentionally doing this.
It's extraordinary because, of course, the President of the United States told us that voter fraud does not exist, although, frankly, I think voter fraud is less of a problem than the manipulation of the machines. Call it election theft. Barack Obama comes out last week and says that's outrageous. Nobody buys the presidency of the United States. Really, ask Al Gore that question. I mean, this is a politicized process, and these machines can be programmed from a central server. They can be programmed with a $15 device that you buy at Best Buy. We have a Stanford study that shows it was done to Bernie Sanders in the primaries. We have Professor Appel at Princeton has written and spoken about the evil of these machines. So has Professor Robert Fitrakis at Columbus State Community College, political science professor and Green Party activist, a very good man. He's wrote a terrific book on the flip and strip method. And this is why I'm affiliated with a group called Stop the Steal. You can find them at stopthesteal.org because we need both money and volunteers. We are going to attempt to conduct a completely neutral, scientifically based exit poll outside 7,000 pre-selected precincts, not selected on the basis of race. That is incorrect, as reported by The Daily Cause and Salon and Talking Points Memo. Who are these people talking to? They're done on the basis of one-party control. I mean, here's my question, Laura. Where you live, are the Republicans and Democrats in it together, or is this a partisan scandal?
Yes, it's not partisan, Roger, at all. What we're seeing is it's crossing boundaries between Democrat and Republican. And what I call it is, and it's very similar to what Trump has been saying, globalism versus nationalism. What we see at the local level is, I call it the money corruption party. They corrupt both sides of the coin, the Republican and the Democrat. And here in the state of Texas, we've got an added dimension that's occurring. The Secretary of State's office here in the state of Texas has dismantled election integrity for electronic voting step by step over the last 3 elections since 2012, 2013, 14, all the way through 2016, where the Secretary of State's office is instructing counties across the state to not keep paper backup records, and that is just an atrocity. So you've got two kinds of hacks going on in Texas with regard to electronic voting, and I'm with you. The voter fraud is minor. Paper ballot fraud is about 15%. 15% of people vote with paper ballots. So 85% is electronic, and that's where the big hitter is. And, all these illegal voting, I say that is just a distraction because they're flipping their votes too. Okay, so it's really, the big picture is electronic voting. There's 2 methodologies that we've seen in Texas. One, the vote flipping that's happening at the precincts in front of the voter, which I say that's a risky hack because voters are being able to see it. And so that's number one. Number two, the other way it's happening is at main counting computers at the county office. In Texas, we have 254 counties. Those main computers, we have documented corruption errors, corrupt memory cards being loaded where a program could be downloaded, and that's a touch point. These computers don't have to be connected to the Internet, so don't let anybody, give you that line because that's a bunch of bull. And these main computers are the main way. We want to have poll watchers in Texas at these main computers, and the main thing I'm working on here in Texas is getting poll watchers so we gather evidence of corruption, we gather evidence of who's at these computers, what they're doing. So that's another piece of evidence we're going to dovetail with you.
Yeah, no, I think that it is vitally important to recognize that in Europe, they have done away with these computerized voting machines. The Democrats are extraordinary, though. In one breath, they tell us the machines cannot be hacked, that this is all a conspiracy theory. And the next breath, they say their CIA director, their Homeland Security director or secretary, their counterintelligence people say the Russians are going to hack this election. No, they aren't. The hacking will be done right here, if it is done at all, and they can be hacked from a central server. They can be hacked by the County Board of Elections. There's any numerous ways. These machines are not complicated or sophisticated, and there's a pattern that tells us that there is a system of inflating the vote in a poll before the election to create an expectation level so that the adjusted machine, shall we call it, can reflect the expectation. In any event, Laura Presley, thanks for joining us here on the Stone Cold Truth, and we will check back with you before the election for an update on Texas.
You're wonderful. Thank you, Roger.
She knows I've done some hard times.
You stumbled and you fell. I just kept your pride from dying.
You saved my soul from hell. She's a diamond of the desert. She's a golden flower of spring. She's the yellow rose of Texas. She can make a man a king.
In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but that he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how, and much more, in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com. New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate Lyndon Johnson stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solark EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solark is used every day to
to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solark is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solark beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solark is energy insurance for your family.
If you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please stay tuned for a special free offer from the makers of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit the ear almost invisibly, and it can be adjusted to find the perfect way to hear everything in every listening environment. Right now, we're offering absolutely free in-home trials to everyone who calls now. 1-800-957-9652. Call in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also receive free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is lightweight and practically invisible, so people won't notice when you're wearing it. So again, if you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please give them or yourself this life-changing 100% free in-home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-9652. That's 1-800-957-9652. 1-800-957-9652.
Are you feeling embarrassed or stuck because you can't focus or concentrate? I have a confession to make. I spent years unable to think clearly, like I was in a fog. I was going through the motions, running my companies, and I hated feeling mentally sluggish. I couldn't get ahead like this. It's no secret. The powers that be want us dumbed down. Chemicals, fluoride. Our brains are under siege, and we are experiencing lower IQs. But now there is a weapon to fight back and win. Introducing DNA Evolve, a revolutionary breakthrough in the category of cognitive enhancers called nootropics. I've been using DNA Evolve and couldn't feel better. For me, it works. It feels great to get things done again and get ahead. Try a free sample for yourself at DNAEvolveSample.com. That's DNAEvolveSample.com. Supplies are limited, so go to DNAEvolveSample.com right now.
Welcome back to the Stone Zone. You may recognize that great instrumental by the Rolling Stones. In their 1960s incarnation, they were an all-white blues band doing mostly covers of Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, Howlin' Wolf, and this was actually the period which this is my favorite period of the Stones. They go off in different directions, the psychedelic phase and so on, but this is, to me, it's always been the perfect entry music. We are really honored to have our newsmaker of the week, and that is my old friend and colleague, James O'Keefe, who I met many years ago when he was trying to find out some place to sleep and scrounge a steak. And now he has really distinguished himself as an investigative journalist. He is not politically correct. He goes where his subjects lead him, and he has used the camera to expose some extraordinary truths about the epic corruption of the Clinton and Democratic machines. And I'm convinced that these disclosures, in combination with the WikiLeaks, which only weeks ago the left told us would be nothing, would be a milk-fed puppy, but in fact has, I think, damaged the Clintons substantially. And now with the this past week with the FBI reopening their investigation, I think James O'Keefe deserves enormous accolades for getting the information out there to the American people. So welcome to the Stone Zone, James O'Keefe III.
Hello, Roger. It's great to be with you, and thank you for those kind words.
I am very impressed with the work that you and your team have done, the professionalism of the people you have surrounded yourself as you have grown and gotten better and better organized, and who've really, I think, made your mark in this election. Tell us what you think are the most significant revelations that we learned, because to me, I'm outraged because Nixon went down He was driven from Washington because of dirty tricks and illegal activities in connection with the 1972 re-election campaign. And the Clintons, you have now proven, as well as WikiLeaks, that the Clintons are up to the same old tricks.
Yeah, thank you. So it's pretty remarkable what Woodward and Bernstein exposed. What some have said, what we have exposed makes the Watergate scandal look like petty shoplifting, because
a third-rate burglary, as it were.
A third-rate burglary is the word that you've used. And I'll tell you what, I mean, that was someone just sort of going into a hotel room with a flashlight. This is, on the videotape, you have Bob Creamer, the highest-level operative there is. This is a man who's the beating heart of the institutional left. He is not just some low-level Acorn employee lackey. He is someone who has met with the President of the United States 47 times, according to White House visitor logs. In our undercover reporting, he was on the phone with the White House on conference calls going over strategy, and he was a leader of the left, and he was a community organizer close with Clinton. He says in the videotapes that we've released that it was in fact all Clinton's idea. He says, don't tell anybody. He looks into a hidden camera and says, don't tell anybody this. But it was Hillary's idea to put ducks on the ground. These are people dressed up like a duck, and they would incite people punching them. And what we showed in all of the videos was that there was a massive effort to incite violence at Trump rallies and get violence. So all of the things you saw in Chicago and Arizona and North Carolina with Shirley Teeter getting punched in the face, this was all manipulative behavior that now we have admissions from these people. And that's the most revealing thing of the expose. I thought the voter fraud was going to be bigger than it was, but it turns out the fact that they admitted that they bloodied cops, that their behavior, and it was from the White House down, is the biggest revelation. And it was such a revelation. It was mentioned in the debates. Hillary Clinton was asked about it. She ran away. The White House was asked about it. They just said that, they just denied everything and just ignored what I did. But it was significant, and it was significant not just because of what we exposed, but because millions of patriotic Americans on social media were literally, as I call them, the barbarians at the gates of the firewall of these media organizations saying, why aren't you covering this? And that's really what this story is all about. It's about speaking truth to power in an age when the media and the government are in conflict.
Yeah, I think you put that very adeptly. You're just in a situation here where everything is role reversal. In fact, there was never any evidence that Richard Nixon knew about or approved the Watergate break-in in advance, unlike Hillary, who clearly approved an operation to incite violence, a violation of the law. What you've proven here is extraordinary, and I think we're reaching the tipping point where things no longer have to be on the front page of the New York Times. I mean, today's New York Times, pardon me, let me look. This was actually Friday. I've been carrying it around in my briefcase. Trump backers see revolution if Clinton wins. No, that's not what I see. I point out Richard Nixon got reelected carrying 49 states in a landslide, and 18 months later he was driven from the city. These violations of law, this greediness, this trail of lies and corruption, it's not going away. If she manages to steal or hold on to this election, she is going to suffer the same fate as Nixon, because we've reached a tipping point, in my opinion.
Yes, I think the tipping point is, as you pointed out, that's a perfect way to summarize it. It is a tipping point. The power of the people, they have nowhere to go. They have no one to speak for them. 91% of the media, there's been some studies here, 91% of the media is writing these just vociferously hateful, just garbage pieces pro-Hillary at this point. I mean, Andrea Mitchell on NBC literally said these videos have been discredited. There's nothing discredited about the videos. People got fired. Bob Creamer was fired. Scott Vogel was fired. Everyone's been fired. Even the guy who ran the nonprofit, Brad Woodhouse, went on Steve Doocy on Fox and said, yeah, of course I'm coordinating. So he was arrogantly doubling down on what we exposed. It's illegal for a non-for-profit to coordinate with the Hillary.
And we have a WikiLeaks disclosure this week that shows that none other than David Brock, a man who models himself after Joseph Goebbels as the disinformation agent for the Clintons, a guy who between Media Matters for America, and I urge you to check out our parody site, Media Schmatters, S-C-H, MediaSchmatters.com. Check that out. The ultimate source for everything you ever wanted to know about Hillary Clinton. But he has been illegally coordinating. He also has been essentially, based on an FEC report, a comprehensive FEC complaint, he's been money laundering like there's no tomorrow, mixing hard and soft dollars, nonprofit. We're talking about corruption, treason, self-dealing, sexual exploitation. It makes some of these other things look, like child's play.
Well, listen, as you know, in the aftermath of my accepting President Bush's nomination for Homeland, I declined, withdrew my name from the job because I had a nanny that took care of my children that I didn't pay tax on. I paid her cash. And that started a torturous 5-year state and federal investigation process that, crucified me in the court of public opinion, my career, a 30-year career in which was unparalleled in many cases in this country in law enforcement. And eventually I was forced to plead guilty. And I say forced, you run out of money. You don't have a choice at some point. Otherwise your family lives in the street. But I was forced to plead guilty in 2009. And I was actually sent to federal prison for 4 years. And I served 3 years and 11 days. And it all started with false statements and tax charges relating to my children's nanny. And I have to tell you, for guys like me, one, that went through it, and two, that lived inside an institution where you see military servicemen that takes, some kid took a selfie, and because there was a sonar blip behind him, he wound up doing a year in prison. Or some other guy that sends an email, a non-class server sends it.
Commissioner, we're going to take a break here, and we're going to jump right back to you because I want to stay on this.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply. Or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. Earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
The United States of Empire, The Passing of the Mantle from the United Kingdom to the United States, is a book that claims that the United States is the empire of the world. Our first president, George Washington, had warned us about being entangled in foreign wars. But by the 1900s, that seemed like an antiquated idea. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left the United Kingdom broke and broken. In both wars, it needed its former colony and protege, the U.S., to save the empire. We did so, recoiled from responsibilities after the First World War, accepted them after the Second. The Cold War solidified our position. Did the American people ever vote on the question? For whom do we fight? The First World War is the beginning of the American Empire. The United States of Empire by James Dunn, available at Amazon Books.
Would it be okay if you had 2 paychecks instead of 1? I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and myself want to show you how to get an extra paycheck every month, creating an extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
There was a mighty nation, blessed above all of creation.
Charlie Daniels, he's always loved America. He's always defended the Second Amendment.
Let me just read a little thing here from Agenda 21. The American system of justice must be changed to conform to the rest of the world. Individual rights will have to take a back seat to the collective. Well, you know what the next move's going to be, don't you? It's going to be coming after your gun.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, it ain't going to sit well down my way at all. It ain't gonna sit well.
Do you ever wonder what happened to America?
It's time to ride, boys. We need 1,000 Paul Revere's.
When I was a boy, it was okay to be proud of the flag, heritage, mom and apple pie, and beef. What's for supper? Revelation, Dawn of Global Government. Theatrical screenings on demand. DVDs now available. Starring Alex Jones, Charlie Daniels, Special Ops General Jerry Boykin. Want to shed some tears over the red, white, and blue? Revelation, the movie.info. Let's fix it.
How confident are you in your food storage? If it was all you had to rely on, would it sustain your family? Hard times, good times, or any time, New Manna Storable Food is the proven superior choice. Learn for yourself what happened when one man ate only New Manna Storable Food for an entire month. Online at PowerPrepper.com. That's PowerPrepper.com. Experience the New Manna difference.
American made food stores I love to eat. Yum!
All right, we're back on the Stone Cold Truth. You're right here in the Stone Zone on the Genesis Communications Network, right here at AM 970, The Answer. And we're back with New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik, a man who has served his country and his city and his state with great distinction. Very few have the public record of service and accomplishment that Commissioner Kerik has, and I'm honored to have him here back in the Stone Zone. We were talking about the stark difference between his prosecution, largely a witch hunt, a politically motivated witch hunt, in my opinion, and the enormous crimes that the Clinton cabal has gotten away with so far. Commissioner, why don't we pick it up there?
Yeah, one of the primary things in my case, as I was saying, it was the false statements issue, and I know what's on the internet. The reality is, my false statements was in a basic email, an email between me and the White House. One of the initial ones was about my nanny and whether I had one, and whether she was full-time or part-time, and that email went to a staffer in the White House. And I wasn't under oath. It wasn't perjury. It was an email for a job that I didn't accept, and I was still charged with false statements. I declined the job. I didn't even go through with the job. And there were other things as well, but the bottom line is, you charged me with false statements, and I went to prison for 4 years. And I watch Hillary Clinton on a daily basis get up and lie. Now, I'm not assuming she's lying. I'm not, speculating she's lying. I know she's lying because there's a ton of evidence to prove it, including the director of the FBI who stood at a press conference and said she lied about sending classified emails. She lied about how many emails there were. She lied about the server. She lied about everything under the sun, and she's not held accountable. There are people sitting in prison for 1/100th of the amount of stuff that she did, and there's no accountability at all. You just let her go like it's, above the law. When you think above the law, it's beyond anything I can comprehend.
That was, of course, the great lesson of Watergate. That's what the liberals told us over and over again. No person is above the law. No one is above the law, except for the phenomena of elite deviance. That is, a certain class of people, like Hillary and her husband and their co-conspirator daughter, who can break the law with impunity. People who are so well-connected, so powerful, so protected by the mainstream media, and so politically correct that the law really doesn't apply for them. Now, however, I have a confidence because of my belief in the integrity of the New York Police Department that there can be no cover-up. It won't matter what the Central Intelligence Agency or the FBI or the Eastern District of the Justice Department wants. There are patriots at NYPD who know the truth, who have access to the truth, who will not let the facts be buried. And therefore, I go to bed tonight far more confident that Bill and Hillary are headed towards justice. Bernie Kerik, thanks for joining us here at the Stone Cold Truth. We salute you. We salute your public service. We salute your efforts for prison reform, and we're honored to have you back here again.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Richard Milhous Nixon, joins us today from the great beyond to handicap next Tuesday's election. The sage of Saddle River joins us here at the Stone Cold Truth to tell us what's about to unfold. Now, President Nixon, I know you were on 6 national tickets between the vice presidency and your own presidential campaigns, and therefore taking off your candidate hat and putting on your campaign manager hat and seeing what I see, a very close election. How do you sum this up, Mr. President?
Well, to be honest with you, if I may be perfectly clear, I think it's going to be very close. I wouldn't count Mr. Trump out. As I have been watching these dumps unfold out of WikiLeaks, it's clear that people are losing their enthusiasm for Ms. Clinton, particularly Sanders supporters, with the exception of Roger Moore, whatever his name is, Michael Moore, looking for attention. But I think most diehard Sanders supporters, after they've seen the information about Podesta and the kind of machinations that were going on to rob him, I think that's going to turn off a lot of people. As for the black vote, they're so desperate that to have the president Sunday morning doing a one-on-one with ex-FBI informant Al Sharpton. So it looks pretty that they're in very bad shape, Roger, to be honest with you. At this point, they're scurrying to try to build some momentum. Trump has bounced back from the Bush tape, and he's been on message. I think it's going to be a lot closer than most people think. Now that he's pulled away in Utah from this, whoever this guy is, McMullen, it looks like Trump is in a good spot to win Pennsylvania. I believe he'll win Florida easily. And some of these toss-up states, Colorado, Virginia, Ohio is his, because I don't see the black vote coming out in Cincinnati or Cleveland in that state. As for Gary Johnson, I believe he'll pull more votes away from Hillary Clinton than from Donald Trump.
Wow, that's an amazing analysis there. So I guess what you're saying is that Hillary Clinton wishes she had somebody like Sammy Davis in terms of getting out the black vote.
Giving her a kiss of good luck. She's got someone that's lost a lot of credibility. He's been relegated to a Sunday show, doesn't have a following. Nobody goes near him anymore. So the Cornel West of this world, they're supporting Jill Stein. I don't see, with the exception of some of those black assemblymen like Bakari Sellers looking for a spot in a Clinton administration, really toeing the line. She's in a lot of trouble if she doesn't get a big black vote. And I don't see it. She's way down percentage-wise compared to Barack Obama.
Yeah, certainly in the early voting, there's no indication that you're going to have the kind of African-American community turnout that Obama had and needed in even what was a relatively close race against Mitt Romney, relatively. So I tend to agree with your analysis, Mr. President. Now, if Trump is elected, do you have any plans to show up at the inauguration?
Well, listen, if Elvis showed up in the White House and everybody thought he was dead, why wouldn't I show up?
Well,
at the White House.
I certainly hope that they invite you, sir. I know you haven't been back in a while. I remember you telling me that you carved your initials in the desk, just in case you did decide to come back. It would be fitting because, of course, they told us in that whole minor third-rate burglary they called Watergate that no person.
That was a misdemeanor. That was a misdemeanor. Look what Hillary's done. Look at the CGI. I mean, they've made $1 billion. Their involvement with ISIS. She created ISIS. ISIS cuts off heads. I mean, don't people see this? Her closeness with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I would have to say that in comparison to the things you were accused of, her crimes include corruption, treason, self-dealing. There seems to be evidence of child sex exploitation. Good God.
What about this, Roger? What about they watered down AIDS medicine to Africa? This is something out of the Third Man. This is like Harry Line stuff, you know. She may consider all these people just little dots.
Well, Black Lives Matter, unless, of course, you live in Haiti. Black Lives Matter unless you live in Libya.
Africa.
Black Lives Matter unless you're one of those AIDS patients in Africa who desperately needs, real medication. No, I think
you heard what she said. She said, let's bring them to heel. Then they passed the crime bill. That was 10 times worse than what I did with my Law and Order platform.
Although I think even you would admit that the war on drugs turned out to be a bit of a mistake.
It was my biggest failure. That's the one thing maybe I should have been impeached for that, but not Watergate. That was bad judgment, the war on drugs. I made a mistake. And look, it spun out of control. And believe me, when Hillary's in, she's controlled by the pharmaceutical companies. Marijuana will never be legalized.
All right. Thank you, President Richard M. Nixon, here only exclusively on the Stone Cold Truth.
New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate, Lyndon Johnson, stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com. Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold, cold as ice." Find out more at StoneColdTruth.com.
Hi, I'm Rick Ossick, president of Famous Footwear. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies? That's why we are fighting to end premature birth and birth defects along with the March of Dimes. You can do something today to give them tomorrow. Your support means programs, education, life-saving research, and a voice for families in a newborn intensive care unit. Together we can save babies' lives. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
I wanna love you night and day. You know my love will not fade.
We're back on the Stone Cold Truth here on the Genesis Communications Network. Very proud now to be featured on KRFE in Lubbock, Texas, 580 AM. And this is a big deal because this is the home station of Buddy Holly, one of my favorites and one of the greats. So I'm honored. I apologize for garbling those call letters a week ago. But it's election time, and I'm surviving on a handful of Alex Jones's brain force and about 6 hours sleep a night. So my apologies to my colleagues at KRFE, and I am very grateful for their patronage. I look to stop by next time I'm in Lubbock. What an extraordinary week in American politics because, ladies and gentlemen, the cover-up is over. The Obama administration's use of law enforcement agencies to conceal the crimes of the Clintons, a conspiracy that is abetted by the mainstream media in exact juxtaposition of what they did in 1972 and 3 and 4, where they went out of their way to mount a campaign to expose the corruption and the transgressions of the Nixon administration and the Nixon presidential campaign, which ultimately brought our 37th president down. Now, the media has gone into the role of suppressing the Clintons' many, many crimes. There is a war going on, folks, between the Justice Department centered at the Eastern District of New York and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is well aware of numerous crimes by the Clintons, including crimes pertaining to the Clinton Foundation and corruption and pay for play there. But because the New York City Police Department initiated an investigation into potential sex crimes with minors against former Congressman Anthony Weiner, they became aware of 650,000 emails that were maintained on a special server by Weiner and his wife, Clinton henchwoman Huma Abedin. These are like the Watergate tapes, folks. This is indelible proof of the various crimes of Bill and Hillary Clinton and their circle of cronies. And because the NYPD has the information, has read the information, has retained a copy of the information, the chances of a cover-up now are nil. My sources, which are excellent, tell me that this treasure trove of documents has evidence of corruption, including treason, actually charging foreign entities and nations hostile to the United States, charging them, in essence, in order to be able to examine classified and top-secret documents, play for pay at the Clinton Foundation, a shakedown of Serbia, almost $2 million to get a meeting with the President of the United States. Turkish intelligence sources tell me that they can prove that the Muslim Brotherhood had full access to Huma's treasure trove of classified documents. Incredible reports today, confirmed by WikiLeaks, of sexual exploitation of children, of satanic ritual. I mean, this boggles the mind. But the toothpaste, folks, is never going back in the tube. Incredibly, House Democrats now want to investigate the FBI. They're upset that the FBI is now actually doing their job. They weren't interested in investigating the FBI when the FBI director outlined all the crimes of Hillary Clinton only months ago and then announced that she would not be prosecuted. That was okay. Now that the FBI is actually doing their job, ferreting out crime, and that the FBI is leaking in some cases to ensure that bureaucrats at the Justice Department aren't able to perpetrate yet another Clinton cover-up. Well, now the Democrats are upset, and they want an investigation. You know, there's a strange thing has happened in this country. If you are not for thermonuclear war with the Russians over Syria, then you're publicly charged with treason and with being a Russian agent, a Russian asset, a tool of the Russians. This is the new McCarthyism. When Congressman Jerry Nadler calls on the FBI director to investigate me over my non-existent ties to Russia, he soils his seat in Congress. He soils his reputation as a serious lawmaker. This is beneath contempt. If the congressman has some evidence, put up or shut up. Congressman Elijah Cummings, widely viewed as perhaps the dumbest member of the U.S. Congress, flatly says off the floor of the Congress, Roger Stone had advanced knowledge of WikiLeaks hacking of John Podesta's most fruitful email. No, Congressman, that's a lie. Don't say that because it's not true and you have no evidence to that effect. Yesterday, a story that the FBI is looking into forged documents. I got an email, as many reporters and pundits did, from an email address that I did not recognize, of what purported to be a memo from a douchebag named Joel Benenson, who's a liberal Democratic pollster, that was extremely well written and pretty convincing. I posted it on my Twitter feed and said, if this is real, wow. If. That means I never said it was real. I wasn't vouching for its authenticity. I was saying if it was real. Now I read in a story by Reuters that I am being investigated for potentially forging that document, in which case I hope the FBI investigates the other 20 people who sent it to me who also received it. This is a joke, folks. Let me make it clear. I have no Russian clients. I have no Russian influences. I have no Russian funds. I do not work for Russian intelligence. I've never been to Russia. I haven't spoken to anybody on the phone or by email in Russia in many years, if ever. My colleague Paul Manafort, according to NBC, there's an FBI investigation into his connections to the Russians. Folks, there is no investigation. That's a lie. NBC lies. The reporters with their names on that should be ashamed. The New York Times wrote that Manafort was under investigation in Ukraine. No, he is not. There is no investigation. These are all people who are merely parroting the talking points of the Clinton campaign. It's Hillary who's in bed with the Russians. It's Hillary who's taken millions for the Clinton Foundation in return for control of a substantial portion of the uranium concession in this country. It is the Clintons who want to rush headlong towards war with the Russians. It is the policies of the Obama-Clinton administration that have brought us to the brink of war. We'll talk about this and far more right here on the Stone Cold Truth. Buckle your seatbelt.
non-attorney spokesperson. Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold. Cold as ice." Find out more at stonecoldtruth.com. In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how, and much more, in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
That you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
I'm with my sidekick, libertarian activist, filmmaker, stand-up comedian, man about town. Travis Irvine joins us for a discussion of third-party politics, or let's call it minor party politics. He and I agree that the Libertarian Party candidate and the Green Party candidate should have been included in this year's presidential debates, as they should have been 4 years ago. The Presidential Commission on Debates is not appointed by the president, not a commission, and most certainly not about debate. And our democracy is less rich for the failure to have different points of view presented to the American people. I remember 4 years ago when I was supporting Governor Gary Johnson, who I consider both a good man and a good friend, that 74% of the voters said in the eve of the election that they wish there was another candidate. And of course there was. There were two more candidates. The American people just didn't know about it. So, Travis, what do you see as the state of play at Libertarian Ground Central? Do you think Gary Johnson gets more votes than he got 4 years ago? And do you think he actually plays a meaningful role in impacting the outcome of this election?
Oh, well, absolutely, Roger. Certainly he's on track to receive more than the 1 million or the 1% of the popular vote that he received in 2012. The interesting thing, though, as I'm sure you're aware, is that as Trump has surged in the polls, you actually see, I believe, that pulling away from Gary Johnson supporters who, I think they kind of figured a few weeks ago, okay, Trump may lose anyway. But now that they see Trump surging, I think that's actually pulling away a lot of the people who are going to vote third party, and they're going back home, as the term is, back home to the Republican Party. So either way, it is a fascinating race. Gary certainly had a chance to possibly pick up a few electoral college votes. I know a few weeks ago we spoke about this, about potentially picking off one state here. They were surging in Alaska, South Dakota, double digits in Colorado and New Mexico. As of now, from what I understand with the campaign, the only state that Gary even has a chance to win is New Mexico. Now, that would indeed impact the election big time, because CNN just put out their new electoral college map predictions, and Hillary Clinton is finally under 270. They've moved Utah, which for a brief moment, Evan McMullin, you want to talk about obscure third-party candidates who should not have been in the debates because he wasn't on enough balance in enough states to even get 270 electoral votes. Evan McMullin is in second place in Utah, and people were pretty afraid that he was going to take that state from Trump. But it looks like that's been moved back into the Republican category. But New Mexico, Gary could potentially swing in. He's at a tight third place, I believe, and about 22%. And if he took that away from Hillary, she's already under 270. That just takes her down even lower. So that would have a serious impact on the race. Now, the other part of the strategy, of course, for Gary's campaign, currently he's campaigning in California, Portland, Colorado. They're just trying to get the 5% now as well. They've got ground game in New Mexico to try to make that one happen. But the big prize now is, you're aware, Roger, 5% in the popular vote gets you matching federal funds for the Libertarian Party. Now, that would be huge. Granted, you'd probably have an ideological split within the Libertarian Party on whether or not they should actually take that money. But Gary Johnson is certainly gunning for that, and that would be a game changer. That would take the Libertarian Party to the next level, I think, in minor party politics, going from a minor party to more of a major party.
Do you know what the Gary Johnson campaign filed in their most recent Federal Election Commission's filing in terms of the total number of dollars raised?
I am not aware, actually. I am not working for the campaign within an official capacity. I am actually talking to college students about liberty and libertarian values with a thing called Liberty Tour, funded by Our America Initiative, which is an educational nonprofit founded by Gary Johnson 4 years ago after the 2012 race. So I am unaware of what money has been raised and spent within the Johnson campaign, but I will say they are doing these rallies. I saw one in Portland last night. They're doing one in Sacramento tonight, Denver on Sunday, San Diego Monday. So they are doing the groundwork, campaigning, and holding these big events and big rallies. So, they are certainly still pushing, and they're going to be pushing all the way to Election Day.
One of the things that concerned me, of course, is that last time I looked, they had raised about $6 million. I expected them to go as high as 10. But I don't see any Gary Johnson campaign in any of these states. I'm not seeing any television, radio, mail, any of the usual accoutrements that we associate with a modern political campaign. The few ads for Gary Johnson that I have seen have come from a super PAC, some purple something or other super PAC. Where exactly is the Johnson campaign spending its money?
Oh, sure. I mean, from what I understand, they are pushing a lot of social media stuff. And again, these live events, I mean, these are expensive productions to put on. These are big ballrooms, and they pack up with hundreds of libertarians coming from all around these states. So, your guess is as good as mine. If it's, I think, third parties have to do it a little bit differently than the major parties. Certainly hiring consulting companies, media companies, and the like to do it that way, paying volunteers. The ground game is as strong as it can be in all these states, and they're providing, we had yard signs. There was yard signs at the Portland event last night, and they were all gone by the time the event ended. So there are materials being put out there. There's yard signs, there's flyers, there's T-shirts, there's buttons, there's all that fun, usual campaign stuff, and they're putting it all out there for free, and people are grabbing it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'd like to see $10 million worth of yard signs, but look, I have a high regard for Gary Johnson. If Donald Trump were not in this race, I'd probably be voting for him. Bill Weld, his attacks on Trump and his seeming desire to excuse the massive crimes of Hillary Clinton notwithstanding, is also a friend of mine and a guy with a great record as governor of Massachusetts. And, of course, I wish the Libertarian Party, of which I am still a registered member, the very best. Travis Irvine, thanks for joining us again. I'm going to look forward to next week when we get you back here in the second seat at the Stone Cold Truth.
Have a good election, Roger.
In the New York Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, Roger Stone has gathered documents and uses his first-hand knowledge to construct the ultimate book to prove that LBJ was not only involved in JFK's assassination, but that he was in fact the mastermind. Find out how, and much more, in The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Get yours today at lbjkilledjfk.com. New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate Lyndon Johnson stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers. A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
My name is Don Wiskin, and at 42 years old, I suffered a massive heart attack, lost 35% of my heart to damaged tissue, and was supposed to spend the rest of my life on disability. What did I do? I took Extendivite, a garlic and cayenne mix of 7 herbs which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life. For over 17 years now, I have made this formula available to you, so you don't have to suffer the same thing I did. Clean your blocked arteries and strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system. I'm 60 years old now, and I still work every day. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Welcome back to the Stone Cold Truth here at the Genesis Communications Network. We are privileged to be joined by a man in the know. As I think I said last week, if you go to Webster's Dictionary and you look up the word savvy, there's a little picture of John Tobacco. John Tobacco is a Wall Street veteran, a man who knows the financial world, but a man who's dabbled as a volunteer activist in politics. Now, I think first vice chairman of the New York State Reform Party, which is a new recognized political party that got its status on the basis of getting 50,000 votes in the last gubernatorial election, and now they are on the political scene as an agent for change. And for political reform, and therefore I salute you, John Tobacco, for stepping forward to provide leadership to the new Reform Party. And I know that you are keenly interested in the upcoming presidential election, and I know you and your associates in the Reform Party have been trying to think about how to use the party to best facilitate an honest election as we go forward. So we spoke last week about your very coveted poll watching certificates, which are afforded to you as a formally recognized party in the state of New York. Now, I know that your party is not monolithic in the sense that you have people who are more progressively inclined, you have people who are more conservatively inclined. The one thing that all your folks seem to have in common is a desire for clean, honest government and clean, honest elections. So tell us what you're up to.
Well, Roger, thanks for having me on again and being an advocate for our cause and looking out for, even in the big position you're in, looking out for us little guys and small parties. Really, really appreciate it. And before we get started, Roger, right here in we carried in New York on AM 970, I want to send out my prayers and hopes for 2 NYPD officers shot in the head today. And there's headlines, and every news network is carrying it when some civilian gets shot by a cop, but you don't hear about it as much when it's the cops that are getting shot. And prayers to those guys. And, certainly we're, as the New York State Reform Party Vice Chair, along with our Chairman, Curtis Lewa, and our fantastic Secretary, Frank Morano, as I told you last week, we were looking at what we could do legally as a party. We do have a statewide candidate, a federal candidate running on every ballot box in New York State. That's Wendy Long. And we want Wendy Long to do something that people think is unthinkable. So we, as a party, we're qualified under New York State Election Law, Section 8-500, which allows us to appoint official recognized poll observers, and these are people that will go to the polling sites. They'll get involved. They'll see for themselves with their own eyes and ears what's happening. And this isn't a suppression effort, Roger. As a small party, we're reaching out to. We only have roughly 900 members throughout the state, and we have 25,000 poll watcher certificates to give out. So we need a lot of volunteers. We want to open the process to people. If you're a political junkie, election day is like the Super Bowl, and you can get a front row seat. We need help. We didn't endorse a candidate in this election because for president, we didn't think we'd make a material difference on it, and we wanted to show a very uniquely divided electorate right now that we're the party of inclusion. And hopefully if we can do smart things like this, like motivate people to get involved, to get out there, to help us, to help themselves, watch the process. We didn't endorse a candidate, but no matter what, we want to endorse a free and fair election. And I've been saving it up since last week to make the announcement right here on your show, because I know you've been taking some heat on this stuff. And we're there right by your side. We don't know if the election's rigged. We don't know if it's unrigged. But we want people to go out there, and we're going to have a hotline. You can go to our website at nyspollwatcher.com, and you can sign up. You can download your poll observer. The rules are there. We'll have a town hall call next week to just advise those who do sign up right before Election Day what they can do. But you know what? The zealots and the backroom deals, they get their friends to go down to the polls, and everybody's in on the joke, Roger. You know this, on both sides, Democrat and Republican. And, the way I see it, we have an opportunity here to have our own citizens brigade. They don't usually let the people in on the joke on this type of stuff. But it's legal. We're a party that wants people who are educated, and we want to be inclusive to all. So if you can reach out to your audience and give us a hand, we're happy to consider anyone that's willing to volunteer and get involved in the process to come out and watch some polls here in New York State, Roger.
So tell folks exactly where they need to go to sign up if they want to be part of participatory democracy. And I want to stress, doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a Green Party member or a Libertarian Party member or an unaffiliate or a member of the Reform Party. You're looking for everybody. Is that correct, John? You want anyone who wants to...
Anyone. This isn't, many of the people in the party have their own personal preferences for president. This isn't about personal preferences. If you're a Trump supporter and you think it's rigged, go out there and see for yourself. And if you see something wrong, you report it and you let us know. If you're a Hillary supporter and you want to prove it's not rigged and you want to see for yourself, you go out there and you report it. If you're for Bernie, if you're for Gary, if you're for Jill Stein, if you want access and you want to have both sides of the story and see for yourself, we want to be the party of knowledge. This is a smart exercise. It's inclusive, and it gets people involved. And we want to motivate people to get involved. And, Roger, on that note, aside from going to NYS, New York State, NYSPollWatcher.com, we will be having some live events, which you can see on NYSPollWatcher.com. We'll have some representatives at a Trump rally on Sunday at Bungalow 18 at 18 Nelson Avenue in Staten Island, New York. And we'll also have some folks at a Hillary rally in Brooklyn, which will be listed on our site. So we'd like people to go and download, and we'll consider them and we'll grant them as they're legally fit. And if not, come on down to the Trump rally, come on down to the Hillary rally, and we'll have some people there with observer forms. And Roger, we want to include people. We don't want to exclude anyone.
Well, you heard it here on the Stone Cold Truth. John Tobacco, Curtis Sliwa, guys that I've known a long time, guys I have a lot of respect for in the fledgling Reform Party. With my own producer, Frank Morano, there's rumors about him being ejected from the party because he was openly caught, John, ordering Chicago deep dish pizza. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? A guy from Staten Island ordering all that bread. What was that all about?
I think I was a witness to that crime or misdemeanor, and I was deeply, not as deep as the dish he got us, but I was deeply disappointed in his behavior. And not for nothing, if Dr. Melissa Keller hears about Frank eating deep dish pizza, he's going to be in some deep something else. So from now on, Frankie, let's go thin crust, nice Danino style, no deep dish.
Lesson learned. Thank you. You'd never know there was an election coming up in 3 days with the amount of attention that's paid on my poor ordering habits.
Well, listen, elections are unimportant compared to, say, something important like pizza. So, John Tobacco, great news from you. Thanks for everything you're doing for a better America, a better New York State, a better New York City. You're here at the Stone Cold Truth.
Hi, my name is Scott Fuchs, teacher and rowing coach for over 14 years. I was sluggish, overweight, on prescription drugs, and only 30-something. Fortunately, I was referred to Dr. Z, and happy to say Dr. Z's all-natural protocols over a consistent course resolved my health issues. I'm in the best shape of my life, and most importantly, on 0 medications.
I'm Dr. Stanowski, author of Evology, trained as a primary care physician, surgical manipulation under anesthesia, expert in nutrition, diet, weight loss, immune system, and I specialize in chiropractic. My 15 years of professional experience has taught me the 4 keys to vibrant health: a balanced musculoskeletal system, an integrated nervous system, a flowing lymphatic system, and a body filled with over 90 essential nutrients. This has been a secret too long. Actualize your potential, reverse disease. Call me, Dr. Z. 201-945-1177, 201-945-1177, evolyourself.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD, and if untreated, could lead to blindness. The good news, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that may reverse some vision loss. For free AMD information, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. There is a cure in sight.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey water filters, for the love of clean water.
Kiss your credit card debt goodbye. I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and myself want to show you how to achieve financial peace, creating an extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
But you can give them to the birds and bees. I want my money. That's what I want.
We're back at the Stone Cold Truth. Frank Morano dug up the punk rock version of a song covered by the Beatles, Money. Every pickup band in the world did that song in the 1960s, but it is evocative of our next guest, a man who knows all about money and the economy and what makes the economy work and what makes it not work. I am pleased to have Robert Wenzel, the editor and publisher of the Economic Policy Journal, terrific website, publication, something you need to get hip to if you're not. Robert's based out of San Francisco. Has been a longtime follower of the Stone Zone, and I have followed his writing and the incredible work that he's done. And no one has been more precise in following these WikiLeaks disclosures. This is almost a full-time job. I don't know how to do all the other things that I have to do and still keep track of the enormous amount of fascinating information that's coming out of WikiLeaks. It seems kind of funny because only weeks ago, the mainstream media and many of Hillary Clinton's adherents were laughing about the fact that they didn't believe Assange had anything interesting and that all of this great buildup was anticlimactic. I don't think they are whistling that tune today. So, Robert Wenzel, welcome to the Stone Zone. Delighted to have you here on the Stone Cold Truth.
Roger, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Really looking forward to our discussion here.
Well, we're only days away from the most exciting election in my lifetime. Unlike any other presidential election in which I have been a participant or an observer for that matter, this election is not, in my view, Republicans versus Democrats. This election is the insiders who have worked together on a bipartisan basis to bring this country to its knees versus an outsider, somebody unbeholden to any special interest, somebody who cannot be bought, cannot be bullied, someone who is always his own man, and who as president, I believe, would be beholden only to the American people. Now, I'm not going to argue, and I know you wouldn't either, that he's perfect in any way. There's a number of policy differences I have with Donald Trump where we just don't see eye to eye. But on the big picture matters of pro-growth economic policies, fixing our broken trade policy, coming up with sane immigration policies that will protect the American people but create a path for people who want to go through the hard steps of coming here and becoming a citizen. And of course, the entire issue of foreign policy that has some coherence. I'm pretty down with Trump. So, Robert, tell us how you see the election, how you see the impact of the WikiLeaks, and which of those leaks have been most interesting to you.
Okay, first of all, I think your characterization of this as being a battle between the insiders and the outsiders is right on. If there's one thing that the Donald Trump campaign has showed us, it is how much the establishment, elite, mainstream media all stick together. They have never been more vicious against a political candidate than they have against Donald Trump. Okay. Now, as far as his economic policies, I think he needs some stronger economic advisors around him. There's plenty of guys around that could help him. He needs to dial up the Mises Institute and talk to people there. Names that come to mind right away are Joe Salerno, Peter Klein, Tom Woods, and now I'm going to forget other names, and I apologize for the others that I haven't. But he needs to get a better group of people around him as far as the economics is concerned. That said, okay, what he has done here is exposed the establishment, the deep state, and what is going on. It is vicious the way he is being attacked by Hillary. And, of course, Hillary's economic policies are just horrific. And, Roger, I tell you, I've been looking through these WikiLeaks emails, and, it's a great thing. It's fun to sort of wake up every morning and find them, and it's kind of like a good movie. I don't want it to ever end. And I've sort of worked my way through about 15% and know who to look for and stuff like that. And there's a gal by the name of Heather Boushey, who is very, very close to the Clinton campaign, who seems very comfortable emailing Podesta, and more important, Podesta emails her back. You see a lot of people sending emails to Podesta, but he doesn't respond to them. He responds to her. So there's something going on there. And of course, Podesta is the chairman of the Clinton campaign. And what's revealing in one particular email, she included a memo about a secret group that she's setting up. Now, she's an economic consultant for the campaign, and this memo is just simply shocking. There are 6 pieces of agenda topics in the memo that include taxation on capital, which is absolutely horrific. She has a bizarre view of inequality that it's caused by mutual funds buying in sectors, and she wants the Department of Justice to go in. Roger, this is crazy. For example, if Fidelity buys one bank stock and BlackRock buys another bank stock, she sees that as some kind of concentration of influence, and she wants the Department of Justice to Antitrust Division to investigate it. And that was prompted by Podesta sending her a paper by a Harvard economist who's doing some work in this way. In addition to that, what's really interesting, now there's only 6 things on this agenda. There are only 3 or 4 permanent members, she said, that will be at all these meetings, and they will bring others in and out. This is top-level, high-level stuff. So in addition to capital taxation, going after mutual funds, she also has on there as a topic discussion the next recession. It's not clear what exactly she means by this. Are they planning it? Are they plotting it? Do they see it happening? But that's an eye-opener. And now most of the stuff is economic stuff on the agenda, 5 out of the 6 items. But the 6th item It's called Discussion on Extreme Conservatism. So they're plotting right now to go after conservatives, and I consider that a big tent sort of plotting. That means libertarians, hardcore right people, and this is not a discussion about how to reach out to what they label the extreme conservatives. This is real serious stuff. If Hillary gets in, there's going to be a clampdown of some sort, and they're plotting it now.
Yeah, well, this has always been a concern of mine. One of the things that WikiLeaks did expose, and Project Veritas also exposed, is the comprehensive campaign to get the mainstream media to censor those who are not politically correct, censor those who are critics of Bill and Hillary Clinton and their phony foundation. And in my case, they were quite successful at CNN, at MSNBC.
Right, Roger. I have to absolutely there are the Veritas stuff is in there. I mean, there's no question they plotted to shut you down. That's clear. All it, of course, has done is drive a greater audience for me at Infowars.com and on shows like this. You picked out and sent me a number of interesting WikiLeaks comments about David Brock, the money launderer who runs the two pro-Clinton front groups, Media Matters for America and Correct the Record, which should be called Distort the Record. Now, we know he's mingling nonprofit money, hard money, and so on, but tell us what you learned about Mr. Brock. Well, I'll tell you, what's really interesting is there are people around the Hillary campaign that really don't trust the guy. I mean, you read these emails, Neera Tanden and some of the other people, I mean, they're asking whether Hillary understands how dangerous this guy is, how whacked out he is, and things along those lines. So I mean, he was on the right wing and wrote a anti-Clinton book, and then mysteriously moved over to the Hillary campaign.
It's odd. Robert, I got to cut you off there because we get a hard break. Robert.
New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone brings you Nixon's Secrets. In Nixon's Secrets, Stone reveals how the Kennedys wiretapped Nixon's hotel room the night before the Nixon-Kennedy debate and stole Nixon's medical records from his psychiatrist's office. Stone lays out how Kennedy's running mate, Lyndon Johnson, stole Texas from JFK through voter fraud, while Mayor Richard Daley stole Illinois, and how JFK actually lost the popular vote. Get Nixon's Secrets today at StoneColdTruth.com. Roger Stone, New York Times best-selling author, brings you Nixon's Secrets. Nixon's Secrets shows how Hillary Clinton was fired from the 1974 Nixon Impeachment Committee staff for lying and violating Nixon's rights, and how Hillary tried unsuccessfully to block Nixon from the Clinton White House. No wonder Nixon, upon meeting Hillary for the first time, said, "She's cold as ice." Find out more at StoneColdTruth.com.
There is an affordable alternative to the high cost of healthcare that offers freedom from insurance while providing compliance with the Obamacare individual mandate. Imagine having access to quality, affordable healthcare that allows you the freedom to choose your doctor and hospital. Members can share up to 100% of necessary medical expenses, including some alternative treatments. Find out how you and your family can contain healthcare costs without giving up your freedom. Go to LibertyOnCall.org. That's LibertyOnCall.org.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.